Hi, I'm Dr. Beth Tumarkin with Breaking Forward Coaching. I'm a principal and executive coach, and Breaking Forward Coaching is a small boutique firm that does both individual and small team coaching. Our goal is to bring about transformative experiences to help the individual or small teams experience great breakthroughs. We are doing a small series of videos where we interview leaders and CEOs and chairmen across various industries. And we're very lucky today that Dr. Andy Hafer has agreed to join us and share a lot of his experience with us today. Dr. Hafer has a doctorate of business administration with an entrepreneurship concentration. He's currently the founder and chairman of DCE Productions and co-founder of Synapse Florida. So thank you, Dr. Hafer, and we appreciate you joining us. I wanted to start out by asking you, when did you first notice you had a knack for innovation and entrepreneurship?
Good question. I would have said when I deliberately started my first company, which would have been probably in 2002. But my wife and I were reflecting on that, and it's probably even prior to that. There was a time when she and I were both in college. We started dating in college, and there was a little thing that we did even in college to kind of a side hustle to make some money and bring value to our audience. And so there was some early trappings of that, but I would say probably when I figured out that entrepreneurship was a thing was while I was in a role as an executive. I'm in the technology space, so I was a chief information officer for a mid-sized company that was implementing some software, and I was seeking a solution that eventually I learned didn't exist, and so I just invented it. And lo and behold, it was great for my company. And when I told other CIOs about it, they said, I'd like to do that too. And all of a sudden I learned that you can fill gaps deliberately like that. And eventually my night and weekend side hustle turned into my full-time job after I quit, and became what I guess I accidentally sideways got into being an entrepreneur, and I haven't stopped since.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Excuse me. What is it about it all, that entrepreneurship, that you find so rewarding?
It's the thrill. It's a roller coaster ride. It is, I've described entrepreneurship as a disease before, where you look at something and you feel like, wow, that can be done better, or there's a gap there. I need to fill it. And it's this compassion for, being innovative and changing the world. And so that is the thrill of it to me. And it's a little bit of, it's sort of reminiscent of a roller coaster, because there's that thrill of going up the hill, and it's hard work, and you're click, 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 click going up with the chain pulling the roller coaster cars up the hill. Then you have that exhilaration of going down that first hill, but it's up and down, and it's frustration, and it's glee, but you wrap all that together, and it's just it's a thrill ride.
Do you think everyone's capable of handling that amount of excitement?
I don't know. There's some people who like merry-go-rounds better than roller coasters. I didn't know I was either. When I started my career, I found safety in big corporations, and but I learned that I make so much more of an impact when I'm riding shotgun or solo. And so I don't know if everyone's there. I hope everyone's not capable of it, because we need some people to behave and to sit in corporate roles and get things done. Small companies turn into big companies, hopefully, and therefore we always need people who are not always making some of the ridiculous moves that entrepreneurs tend to make, as far as risk taking and such. So that's a great question, but I think you can learn to be it. But I think some people are just a little bit more risk averse than others, and so it's probably not for everybody. But you can certainly learn the benefits of what entrepreneurs do and innovators do, and it's something that I've been working on in the classroom. I'm now spending time in the classroom with college students, teaching entrepreneurial leadership and different tactics.
You had mentioned earlier to me before we started the video that you're helping develop the USF mentoring program.
Yeah. My latest, I guess I raised my hand for some volunteerism to engage at the University of South Florida in Tampa and Tampa Bay. There's a St. Pete and a Sarasota campus as well. So I have the privilege of going between these three campuses who all have very different personalities and demographics associated with them. So it's really cool to see how we can bring messaging and meeting of veteran entrepreneurs to entrepreneurial students, and sometimes not even entrepreneurial majors. There's people outside of the business college. I've had psychology majors, I've had fine arts majors in my classes, and the concept of starting your own business and being entrepreneurial isn't just about going on the website, creating an LLC and finding funding and all that kind of stuff. It's all about innovation and doing things different and trying things. And so when I settled in at USF, one of the things that was critical to me growing up was having a coach, having a mentor, and I've had several that are just paramount in my life. And so we deliberately created a program to have people with experience raise their hands and I'd like to give back to those who have less experience, and then we matched them up with students and also student companies and have brought the talent together, and it's just cool to watch those matches happen and the magic happen.
That sounds so exciting. I was reading in the last couple of weeks about what is entrepreneurism, and something that stood out to me, it wasn't about being self-employed, it was about being curious and bringing creativity. And
sorry, there's a term that we're starting to use called entrepreneurship, which allows those concepts that you just talked about, being curious, being innovative, to be applied to something that isn't necessarily a new startup business. When you think of entrepreneurship, you automatically think of someone starting a business, but even big organizations with departments and divisions and a lot of structure need those innovators and those change agents within the ranks somewhere. So this concept of entrepreneurship is a term that's being used for this, utilizing those concepts in a bigger fabric of a bigger company.
And then with the mentoring and the coaching, you can challenge those current employees to kind of break out of the molds they've been in.
Yeah, and learn where the landmines might be, having an accountability partner. I mean, if people don't have someone in their life to coach them, to rely on, to at least bounce ideas off, they're really missing out on such a critical component of how to get through a career and how to get through life in general.
I'll be excited to follow the USF mentoring program as it grows. I was excited to hear about it when you shared it with me.
Yeah, we're just getting out of the gates. It was something critical and took a little bit of time to organize. We've got a legion of volunteers now who are ready to give back to the students, and class just started for the fall semester, so they've gotten their books, they've gotten to the first week of class and syllabi, and now it's time to match them up with some of these people willing to give of themselves to coach them through this phase of their lives.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm just glad to know that you guys are doing that and that it exists. Yeah. We just talked about what you're currently doing, but of all of your professional endeavors over the course of your career, which have you found to be the most rewarding for you personally?
There's been so many great things that have made my heart swell. I think probably the one I'd point to, though, is actually a nonprofit. It's actually now part of the University of South Florida as well. I spend a lot of time at my alma mater, but it's the UMatter program. UMatter is the name of a program that it's actually my wife's lifelong passion. She was a special education educator through her career in public schools. And I guess it's about 10 years or so ago, she, with the condition of the public school system, there was, the introduction of politics and a lot of things that made it unpleasant for people who solely wanted to impact children's lives. She made a decision to switch paths, and she retired from the classroom and just started working on nonprofit organizations that benefited individuals with intellectual disabilities. And so there was a series of things that she had passion for, and I had the business acumen to build around. And so she pulled me into that, and I caught the fever and have loved every moment of it. The biggest, I think, the mountaintop thing that she's accomplished is this program called UMatter, and it is an organization within the University of South Florida that focuses on bringing opportunity for a full collegiate experience to individuals with intellectual disabilities. So living in the dorm, joining fraternities, sororities, getting the equivalent of a degree, and really readying people who typically might sit on the couch or be underemployed, readying them for a real career. And it's really exciting. We had first graduating class graduated in May, and Eileen and I, my wife and I, were sitting at the graduation watching this first cohort cross the stage, and we could not have been prouder. I felt like, and I watched the parents who we were sitting with of the first cohort, just streaming tears. Never thought that something like that would happen. So I would say that's probably my greatest rewarding triumph. Of course, I have to ride on the coattails of my wife on that one, but as a team, I think that was something that was able to be implemented.
Sounds like you guys are quite the power duo when you put your minds to stuff. And how transformative for those kids, those young adults now, they're not children. How goes the growth of the program?
Good. It continues to grow. It was founded on the St. Pete campus of the University of South Florida. That was driven mostly because there was a researcher there focusing on a similar activity. When we met this team of researchers, that's when really a lot of things took off. And so it was started on the St. Pete campus, but now it's looking to be expanded to the Tampa campus and eventually to the Sarasota campus. Living on campus is kind of a critical element. So wherever there's dorms and student activities is sort of the formula that needs to be based on where it goes. But those three campuses should all have a portion of the program, and I think we're up to 30 or so in the cohort now. So it is growing. It's good.
Awesome. And that's called the UMatter program.
Yep. And they ended up naming it after my wife. So it's actually the Eileen Hafer UMatter program. And if you pull it up on the University of South Florida's website, it's she's a little embarrassed by that because she kind of shies away from the limelight, but she really was the godmother of that.
And then for people watching the video, they could Google it, find out more about it. Is there any fundraising associated with it, or
yeah, there's scholarships. A lot of times we see that families in that situation that have a child with intellectual disabilities are financially strapped and can't afford a normal university experience, university tuition. So there are scholarships. Yeah, if someone's interested in that, there's an opportunity to give. But you can Google USF UMatter, U as in university, and then Matter, MATTER, and you'll eventually get to some of those key websites for information and giving. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, you're so welcome. And then, for those of you watching, please, we're all trying to make an impact on the world and lift others up. And UMatter sounds like a great way to make an impact on a life. So thank you for sharing that with us. Well, and then, talking about education, you've continued your education throughout your life. I mean, you actually got your doctorate in 2021 after retiring.
Yeah.
How important is it to you for, just to be able to constantly grow and learn?
Oh, it's critical. You always got to be open to learning and learning new things and listening and going places that you didn't go before. Um, Getting a doctorate degree had always been on my mind. I thought I always wanted a terminal degree. And after retiring, I had a nice exit in 2018 in one of my companies. And so didn't have as much to do and had the wherewithal to do something different and went back to school. And at 55 years old, started school again. Luckily, the program I entered, it ended up being at the University of South Florida, where I had gotten my some of my other degrees decades earlier. But because I live in Tampa, I knew that they had a doctorate of business administration, which with an entrepreneurship focus that I wanted to engage in, and I didn't even really shop for other programs. I just went down the road. It's 30 minutes away, and I figured how convenient. I wanted to check this box, and it was kind of a bucket list item. And then when I got into the program, I realized how profound it is. It's top ranked in the country, one of the top ranks. And so I just really kind of got lucky there. But boy, what an experience that was. That was life changing. And I spent 3 years in a doctorate cohort learning from amazing people that I was surrounding myself with. And I think if anyone has the opportunity to do something like that at whatever age, it's just something you should do.
Even with everything you had accomplished up to that time, it sounded like it really expanded you.
It did. I mean, I never thought I would have any kind of stint in academia and research, and I learned that. In fact, I used to kind of make fun of those people that they weren't in touch with the real world, and I'm out here hustling and being a practitioner and making businesses happen and so forth. And um, but once I was sort of exposed to that, I realized the power in it. In fact, we created a conference. um, I wanted everyone else to know about this hidden gem within the walls of a big research university, that it's not just the typical things you hear about with new pharmaceuticals or you name it, cure to cancer, whatever people are working on within research laboratories. There's also social science research, and so um, psychology, the types of things that you guys do. There's a lot of people that are putting a lot of effort into finding new solutions for age-old problems, and so discovering that the university was actually a resource that I could have used over the decades of helping me solve business problems was completely new to me. So we created this conference where we invited other business people in to hear about what the latest business research and social science research was going on. And I hope that continues. We had the first one this past summer, and we'll probably keep doing it because more people need to discover the secret that I learned.
And what is that program called, or what is that conference called?
We called that AMP, uh, which stands for Academia Meets Practice, and it was offered as a conference through the University of South Florida's Business College, the Muma College of Business, and that should happen. Nothing's been set on the calendar yet, but we're speculating sometime in the spring of 2024 we'll do it again in Tampa.
For our video viewers, keep that in mind as well. And is that open to anyone who wants to register?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a small registration fee to try to cover the cost of the coffee and donuts, but its audience is really business leaders who are interested in discovering what's being done to help their practice while it's still sort of being formulated in research. So it's really valuable. Last year we had one of the biggest issues around here in Tampa Bay, where I'm from, is affordable housing, and we call it workforce housing, because it's not just people at the poverty level that have trouble finding housing here. The cost of housing has gotten so just astronomical, at least in this region, that typically well-paid people still can't, especially people early in their career, can't find a place to live near where they work. And so there's a lot of research being done about how to solve that problem that has great economic impact, but also great economic constraints. So that was one of the highlights. And of course, artificial intelligence, that's impacting everybody right now in business in every walk of life. And so AI was central to this last conference as well. So real neat sort of laboratory type topics, but it was being met with people who are practicing it every day.
Yeah, it sounds very timely, the topics that you guys are picking, which of course will draw in even more people. So I'm hoping maybe I can participate in that one next spring.
Absolutely. You have a standing invitation.
Thank you so much. So with everything that you do, how are you finding time to relax and having balance in your life?
That's a problem. I was just talking to my wife last night about the last time we just sat and watched a sunset, and it's been a while. And I think it's a trait of entrepreneurs. You bite off not more than you can chew, but certainly more than allows you to have good balance. So I'm failing at the moment. I have this interesting, not interesting, it's darn weird. This tradition somewhere in my career, when it seems like fall time has always been a crescendo of my career. And fall, as we all know, is when the pumpkin spice phenom comes out and you're drinking pumpkin spice lattes and pumpkin spice everything. And I love pumpkin spice as a flavor, but I would always feel like I wanted to get through the crescendo of my busy season, which tended to be in exactly where we are now, late August, September, and early October. And then I would settle down, put my feet up, and drink my pumpkin spice latte. And so just this morning, my wife came home. Well, yesterday she came home with it, but some creamer, pumpkin spice flavored creamer, and said it's about time. And so we're actively seeking how to carve time out to find that balance. But I would say I'm not good at that, and I need to get better at that.
Yeah, and this is where your wife is being your accountability partner.
Exactly.
It's good to have people who care about your best interest looking out for you.
And who have pumpkin spice.
Yes. For me personally, it's the eggnog that really draws me in, but pumpkin spice is a close second.
Well, that eggnog, you can't do that until Christmas time. So I'm not anywhere close to that yet.
Yeah, no, it's been coming out earlier every year. So it was mid-October this last year that it came out.
Wow.
And I have a hard time resisting eggnog. I will share that bit with the audience and with you. All right. And then your last bit of advice for people who feel like they're too old to transition to something new or to start something new, like what would you share with them?
Well, I'd say that's BS. That might even be an excuse to some people. I would say that's not true. I made a paradigm shift after graduating at 58 years old, and I still feel like I've got a lot of time in my tank. Maybe not time, but a lot of energy in my tank that I'm not in charge of how long I have on this earth, but I want to make sure I make every day count. So I don't think there is. I don't know the answer to that, but I just don't think it's true. I think you can take on some kind of change if you desire, try something new, learn something new, read a different genre of book, whatever it is that you are in your station in life. There's so much value in checking out something different and see where it takes you. So I don't subscribe to the fact that you're too old to do something.
Darn right. Well, I really appreciate your time today, Dr. Hafer. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with the audience and for spending time with me. It was a great start to my morning, and I really appreciate it. And I hope the audience takes an opportunity to check out UMatter at USF, Eileen Hafer's UMatter, and also the AMP conference that will be coming up sometime in the spring, offered through USF Muma College of Business, right?
That's right. Yeah, good plugs for me. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. So happy to do it. They're very worthwhile endeavors, and I was so glad that you could share it with us today.
Well, thank you.
Well, I hope everyone has an excellent day, and I hope they recognize when they're using things like their age as excuses for not trying new things or trying a new habit. And hope things go well.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
Oh, you're so welcome.